The Zorthak had conquered 17 civilizations across 3 star systems. Its method was elegant in its simplicity: infiltrate, bond, control, consume. The parasitic entity would slip through the neural pathways of its chosen host like silk, through water, wrapping itself around the consciousness within until it became the dominant force. Every species had fallen the same way, their minds too orderly, too predictable, too rational to resist. Commander Sarah Chen was supposed to be just another conquest. The Zorthak had observed her ship, the UES Defiance, for weeks as it conducted routine surveys near the Kepler 442 system. Humans were new to the galactic stage, their technology primitive compared to the civilizations the parasite had already consumed. Chen herself seemed ideal, a military officer with access to strategic information and command authority. Her disciplined mind would provide the perfect vessel for infiltrating human space. The entity struck during Chen's sleep cycle, seeping through her neural barriers like mist through a screen. It expected the familiar sensation of sliding into an organized consciousness ready to begin its methodical takeover. Instead, it crashed headfirst into absolute chaos. Chen's mind wasn't a fortress to be conquered. It was a hurricane wrapped around a lightning storm having an argument with a tornado. Memories, emotions, and thoughts ricocheted through her consciousness at impossible angles. The Zorthak tried to establish dominance but found nothing solid to grasp onto. Every time it reached for a neural pathway, Chen's brain would spontaneously redirect through 17 different tangents simultaneously. What is this madness? The parasite thought, struggling to maintain its grip on anything resembling coherent thought. Chen's mind was currently running a detailed analysis of coffee brewing techniques while simultaneously composing a letter to her sister, mentally rehearsing a martial arts kata, solving a calculus problem she'd encountered in academy 15 years ago, worrying about whether she'd locked her apartment door on Earth, she had, creating an elaborate fantasy about having superpowers, and maintaining a running internal monologue about how uncomfortable her regulation socks were. The Zorthak tried to focus on the military memories. Surely those would be organized, structured, useful. Instead, it found Chen's recollection of a training exercise where she'd accidentally triggered a smoke grenade in the mess hall, somehow connected to her grandmother's recipe for apple pie, which led to a childhood memory of catching fireflies, which reminded her of the stars outside her ship, which made her think about the heat death of the universe, which circled back to wondering if she should repaint her quarters. This is impossible, the parasite mentally gasped. In 17 civilizations, it had never encountered a mind that operated like a 6-dimensional maze designed by a committee of caffeinated philosophers. It attempted to seize control of Chen's motor functions. She sat up in bed, walked to her desk, and began typing what the Zorthak intended to be strategic intelligence about human defenses. Instead, Chen's fingers produced a detailed grocery list, followed by a haiku about space loneliness, then the first 3 paragraphs of what appeared to be a romance novel starring herself and a sentient asteroid. The parasite tried again, focusing all its energy on controlling her speech centers. Chen opened her mouth and delivered a 15-minute dissertation on why hot dogs were technically sandwiches, complete with legal precedents and philosophical implications she was apparently making up on the spot. "How do you function?" The Zorthak finally screamed directly into Chen's consciousness, abandoning all pretense of stealth. "Oh," Chen said aloud, not missing a beat in her hot dog analysis. "You're that mind-controlled thingy that's been poking around in here. I was wondering when you'd introduce yourself. Want some coffee? I was about to make a fresh pot." The entity recoiled in horror. She was aware of it, had been aware the entire time, and was somehow treating its presence like an uninvited but not unwelcome houseguest. "How?" the parasite managed to project. Chen wandered to her small kitchen unit, her mind simultaneously calculating the optimal coffee-to-water ratio, replaying a conversation she'd had with her nephew 3 months ago and composing what appeared to be a shopping list for medieval siege equipment. How what? Oh, the awareness thing? I mean, you're not exactly subtle. It's like someone set up a brass band in my temporal lobe. Plus, you keep trying to organize my thoughts, which is adorable but utterly hopeless. The Zorthak made another desperate attempt at dominance, throwing its full power against Chen's consciousness. Her mind absorbed the assault like a sponge, absorbing a hurricane by somehow becoming even more chaotic. She was now simultaneously conducting an internal debate about the social implications of breakfast cereal, redesigning the ship's engine configuration in her head, mentally writing fan fiction about her own life, and planning a birthday party for someone whose birthday wasn't for 7 months. "Please," the parasite whimpered. I need order, structure. How do you live like this?" Chen poured her coffee and added precisely the wrong amount of sugar, while mentally cataloging every cat she'd ever pet. "Live like what? This is normal human stuff. Actually, I'm pretty focused today. Usually I have at least 3 songs stuck in my head at the same time." The Zorthak tried to retreat, to extract itself from this cognitive nightmare, but discovered it had become hopelessly tangled in the labyrinthine contradictions of human consciousness. Every time it attempted to leave through one neural pathway, Chen's brain would spontaneously reroute through a memory of learning to tie her shoes, which somehow connected to her opinions about interstellar taxation policy. I can't escape," the parasite admitted in growing panic. "Oh, you want to leave?" Chen sipped her coffee thoughtfully, while simultaneously composing a strongly worded letter to the manufacturer of her alarm clock and mentally rehearsing how she'd explain quantum physics to a golden retriever. "That's probably for the best. My brain isn't really built for passengers. I barely have room for all my own stuff up here." With what felt like monumental effort, Chen actually focused, for approximately 3 seconds. In that brief moment of singular attention, she created a clear, direct path through her consciousness, like opening a window in the chaos. The Zorthak fled through the opening with the desperation of a drowning swimmer reaching air. Chen finished her coffee, made a note in her log about weird alien parasite experience, and went back to bed. As she drifted off to sleep, her mind seamlessly returned to its natural state, simultaneously planning tomorrow's duty roster, wondering about the etymology of the word etymology, composing a mental letter to her congressman about space traffic laws, and trying to remember if she'd ever owned a pet hamster. 3 star systems away, the Zorthak huddled in the cold vacuum of space, traumatized and broken. It would never again attempt to conquer a human host. Some minds, it had learned, were not meant to be controlled. They were meant to be survived.